Why does the mind decide everything? Pause for a second and listen closely. The loudest voice shaping your life is not the world around you, not your circumstances, not even the people who doubt you. It is the voice inside your head. Every decision you make, every action you take, and every dream you chase begins with a thought. That thought can either lift you or limit you. It can push you forward or quietly pull you back. And the truth is simple, even if it is uncomfortable to accept. If you do not take control of your mind will control you. Think about how many times you have wanted more from life. More confidence, more peace, more success, more purpose. And yet, something held you back. Not a lack of ability, not a lack of opportunity, but a moment of doubt. A fear whispered, "What if you fail?" A habit replied, "Stay where it's safe." That inner conversation happens every single day. And whether you rise or remain stuck depends on which voice you choose to believe. What if your thoughts are the real battlefield? Most people spend their lives trying to change the outside world, hoping that better conditions will bring a better life. They wait for motivation, for approval, for the perfect moment. But the ones who truly transform their lives understand something different. They realize that change does not begin out there. It begins within. As one powerful reminder says, you cannot build a strong life with a weak mind. Your mind is where victories are claimed long before they appear in reality. It is also where defeat begins, often without you noticing. A single negative belief repeated often enough becomes a rule you live by. A single empowering thought practiced daily becomes a foundation for growth. This is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is about deciding that your thoughts will no longer sabotage your future. Why do we feel stuck even when we want more? You are not alone if you feel trapped between who you are and who you want to become. Many people wake up every morning carrying invisible weight. Regret about the past, anxiety about the future, frustration with the present. The mind replays old mistakes, magnifies fears, and convinces you that change is risky or impossible. But here is the truth that often goes unspoken. Feeling stuck is not a permanent condition. It is a mental pattern, and patterns can be broken. The moment you recognize that your thoughts are shaping your emotions, and your emotions are driving your actions, you gain power. Real power. The kind that allows you to rewrite the story you have been telling yourself for years. A simple phrase can shift everything. I am not my thoughts. I choose my thoughts. When you understand this, you stop reacting automatically. You start responding intentionally. You begin to see that growth is not about becoming someone else, but about mastering what already exists within you. The quiet power of taking mental control, controlling your mind, does not mean silencing it or forcing positivity at all times. It means becoming aware. It means noticing when fear is speaking and choosing courage anyway. It means recognizing self-doubt and responding with discipline rather than avoidance. As one short but powerful line reminds us, your mind is a tool. Use it, or it will use you. Every great transformation starts with this awareness. The athlete who pushes through exhaustion. The entrepreneur who keeps going after rejection. The individual who rises after failure. None of them are fearless. They simply refuse to let fear make their decisions. They train their minds to focus on progress, not perfection. You can do the same. Not someday. Not when life gets easier. Now. Right here. Right where you are. Because the circumstances you are in do not define the direction you are capable of moving toward. What would happen if you believed in yourself daily? Imagine waking up and choosing your thoughts with the same care you choose your words when speaking to someone you respect. Imagine replacing "I can't" with "I'm learning." replacing "it's too late" with "I still have time." These are not empty phrases. They are mental decisions that shape your behavior over time. The mind learns through repetition. Whatever you feed it consistently becomes familiar, and whatever becomes familiar begins to feel true. This is why negative self-talk is so dangerous. It feels natural because it has been practiced. But the same rule applies to empowering beliefs. Practice them long enough, and they begin to guide your actions automatically. A powerful reminder worth holding on to is this: change your thoughts, and you change your direction. Direction determines destination, and your destination is not fixed unless you decide it is. Choosing growth over comfort. Growth demands responsibility. It asks you to look honestly at your habits, your reactions, and your excuses. Comfort, on the other hand, asks nothing of you. It invites you to stay the same, to delay, to wait. And while comfort feels safe, it quietly costs you your potential. Choosing to master your mind means choosing growth even when it feels uncomfortable. It means understanding that discipline is not punishment, but freedom. When you control your thoughts, you control your responses. When you control your responses, you control your outcomes. This is why so many powerful voices remind us: the greatest prison is the one you create in your own mind. And just as importantly, the greatest freedom begins there too. A gentle challenge before moving forward. Before continuing, ask yourself a simple but honest question. Are your current thoughts helping you become the person you want to be? Or are they keeping you stuck in patterns you have outgrown? There is no judgment in this question, only opportunity. Awareness is the doorway to change. Take a breath. Let this moment settle. Recognize that deciding to take responsibility for your inner world is not a burden. It is a gift. It is the starting point of lasting transformation. As we move forward, the focus will shift toward understanding yourself more deeply and strengthening the way you think, respond, and grow. Because once you begin to see your inner patterns clearly, you gain the ability to reshape them. And when that happens, your life begins to change from the inside out. Who are you when no one is watching? Before progress can become permanent, clarity must become honest. Many people move through life on autopilot, reacting instead of reflecting, surviving instead of shaping. They chase change without understanding what truly drives their decisions. Yet the most powerful turning point begins with a simple realization: you cannot direct what you do not understand. Knowing yourself is not a luxury. It is a requirement for growth. Self-understanding is not about labels or surface traits. It is about noticing patterns. It is about recognizing what energizes you and what drains you. It is about identifying the habits that quietly build your future and the ones that silently sabotage it. When you observe yourself without judgment, you gain leverage. Awareness turns confusion into choice. As one reminder puts it, awareness is the beginning of transformation. Without it, effort is scattered. With it, effort becomes intentional. Why do patterns repeat until you notice them? Have you ever wondered why the same frustrations keep showing up in different forms? Different jobs, similar stress. Different relationships, similar outcomes. This is not coincidence. It is conditioning. The mind follows familiar routes, even when those routes lead to discomfort. Patterns repeat because they feel known. Known feels safe, even when it hurts. Breaking that cycle requires noticing your default responses. How do you react to pressure? How do you speak to yourself after a mistake? Where do you retreat when fear shows up? These questions are not meant to criticize you. They are meant to reveal you. One powerful truth stands firm. You cannot change what you refuse to confront. When you begin to see your habits clearly, You stop blaming circumstances and start shaping behavior. A story worth reflecting on is that of a man who spent years jumping from opportunity to opportunity, always convinced the next change would fix everything. It was only when he paused and examined his own avoidance of discomfort that his life shifted. He realized his struggle was not lack of talent, but lack of consistency. Once he addressed that inner pattern, his external results followed. What are you feeding your mind every day? The mind absorbs whatever it is exposed to repeatedly. Conversations, media, environments, and internal dialogue all shape perception. If your mental diet is filled with doubt, comparison, and distraction, clarity becomes rare. If it is filled with intention, learning, and discipline, confidence grows naturally. Ask yourself honestly, what thoughts do you practice most often? Do you rehearse worst-case scenarios or constructive solutions? Do you replay failures or extract lessons? The brain does not distinguish between useful repetition and harmful repetition. It simply strengthens what is practiced. A simple but powerful affirmation can shift this pattern. I choose thoughts that move me forward. This is not denial. It is direction. People who transform their lives do not eliminate negative thoughts entirely. They learn not to obey them. They create space between impulse and action. That space is where strength is built. Where does confidence actually come from? Confidence is often misunderstood. It is not loud. It is not arrogance. It is not pretending to have all the answers. True confidence is quiet trust built through integrity with oneself. It grows when your actions align with your values. There is a story of a woman who once doubted her abilities at every step. She waited for motivation before acting and approval before committing. Her breakthrough came when she shifted her focus from feeling ready to acting responsibly. Each small promise she kept to herself became evidence. Over time, her confidence was no longer fragile. It was earned. As one quote says, "Confidence is built when you keep the promises you make to yourself." This is why mindset is not about hype. It is about follow-through. What you believe shapes how you behave. Beliefs operate quietly, but they are powerful. If you believe growth is possible, effort feels worthwhile. If you believe failure defines you, risk feels dangerous. Beliefs act as filters. They decide what you attempt and what you avoid. Many limiting beliefs are inherited, not chosen. They come from past experiences, criticism, or fear of repeating old pain. The key is recognizing that beliefs are learned, and what is learned can be unlearned. Try this reflective exercise. Write down one belief that has been holding you back. Then ask yourself, where did this come from? Is it absolutely true? What would change if you questioned it? This simple practice can loosen the grip of assumptions that have shaped your decisions for years. A powerful reminder worth repeating is this: your beliefs are not facts. They are habits of thought. Habits can be replaced. How do strong thinkers respond to challenges? Strong thinking is not about avoiding struggle. It is about responding with intention. When obstacles appear, disciplined minds ask better questions. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they ask, "What is this teaching me?" Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" they ask, "What if I learn?" This shift in questioning changes everything. It moves you from victimhood to ownership. Ownership creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Consider the example of an athlete who faced repeated setbacks early in their career. Injuries, losses, and doubt followed closely. What separated them from others was not talent alone, but their response. They treated each setback as feedback. Each challenge became data. Over time, resilience replaced frustration. As one powerful statement reminds us, mental strength is built when comfort is no longer your priority. Daily practices that strengthen inner discipline. Mental strength is not built in moments of inspiration. It is built in daily choices. Small habits practiced consistently shape how you think under pressure. Begin with observation. Spend a few minutes each day noticing your internal dialogue. Do not correct it immediately. Just notice it. Awareness creates distance. Distance creates choice. Next, practice intentional replacement. When a limiting thought appears, replace it with a constructive alternative. Not a fantasy, but a grounded response. For example, replace "I always mess this up" with "I am improving through effort." Finally, commit to one daily action that reinforces self-trust. This could be journaling, physical movement, or focused work. The activity matters less than the consistency. A simple affirmation to carry forward is this: I am training my mind to support my growth. Repetition turns intention into identity. Who are you becoming through your choices? Every choice you make votes for the person you are becoming. Not the big dramatic choices alone, but the small ones. The decision to reflect instead of react. The decision to try instead of avoid. The decision to learn instead of quit. You do not need to become perfect. You need to become aware. Awareness sharpens direction. Direction fuels progress. Progress builds belief. Ask yourself one final reflective question. If your thoughts continued exactly as they are for the next year, where would they take you? If that destination does not excite you, this is your invitation to adjust the course. Where are you actually going from here? Desire without direction creates motion, not progress. Many people work hard every day yet feel stuck because effort alone is not enough. Energy must be aimed. Intention must be shaped. When you decide where you are going and why it matters, your actions gain power. Clear goals act like coordinates. They give your ambition a destination. Without direction, the mind drifts. It reacts to urgency instead of building significance. With direction, every choice becomes filtered through purpose. You stop asking what is easiest and start asking what moves you forward. As one powerful reminder says, a goal is not a wish. It is a commitment with a plan. Why clear targets change everything. A clear goal does more than define an outcome. It organizes your thinking. It turns vague motivation into structured effort. When you know what you are working toward, distractions lose their grip. Doubt becomes quieter. Discipline becomes easier because your reason is visible. Think of a traveler without a map. Movement happens, but arrival does not. Now imagine that same traveler with a clear route. Every step has meaning. That is what clarity does for your life. There is a story of a young professional who felt overwhelmed by endless tasks and expectations. Nothing felt finished. Everything felt urgent. The turning point came when they defined one primary objective for the year. Not 10. 1. Every decision was filtered through that priority. Productivity increased, stress decreased, and confidence grew. The workload did not shrink. The focus sharpened. As one statement puts it, clarity creates calm. What makes a goal worth pursuing? Not all goals deserve your energy. Some are inherited from comparison. Others are reactions to pressure. Meaningful goals align with values, not approval. They challenge you without crushing you. They stretch you without disconnecting you from who you are. A powerful way to test a goal is to ask simple questions. Does this goal excite me or impress others? Will achieving this change how I live or only how I look? Am I willing to endure discomfort for this outcome? Honest answers prevent wasted years. When goals are chosen consciously, motivation becomes sustainable. You no longer rely on mood. You rely on meaning. One affirmation to anchor this idea is simple. I choose goals that reflect who I am becoming. How do you turn vision into structure? Dreams become real when they are translated into steps. Planning is not restriction. It is liberation. A plan removes guesswork. It transforms complexity into sequence. Begin by defining the outcome clearly. Not loosely. Not someday. Be specific. Clarity sharpens focus. Next, break the outcome into phases. Each phase should represent progress, not perfection. Progress builds momentum. Momentum builds belief. Then, reduce each phase into daily or weekly actions. Small actions repeated consistently outperform rare bursts of intensity. This is where transformation lives. A well-known example comes from an entrepreneur who spent years stuck at the idea stage. Nothing moved because everything felt overwhelming. Once the vision was broken into weekly objectives, execution followed. Progress replaced paralysis. Planning turned pressure into possibility. As one reminder states, big results come from small steps taken seriously. How do you stay disciplined when motivation fades? Motivation is unreliable. Discipline is trained. The mistake many people make is waiting to feel ready before acting. Readiness comes from action, not before it. Discipline grows when you remove unnecessary decisions. Create routines. Decide in advance. When choices are made ahead of time, resistance has less room to negotiate. Another powerful tool is environment design. Structure your surroundings to support your goals. Reduce friction for positive habits. Increase friction for distractions. Discipline becomes easier when temptation is less accessible. There is a story of a writer who struggled with procrastination for years. Inspiration came rarely. Deadlines created stress. The breakthrough came with a simple routine. Writing at the same time every day, regardless of mood. Over time, consistency replaced inspiration. Output increased. Confidence followed. A reminder worth repeating is this. You do not need more motivation. You need fewer excuses. How can you outsmart procrastination? Procrastination is rarely about laziness. It is often about fear. Fear of failure. Fear of imperfection. Fear of starting without certainty. The solution is not pressure. It is simplicity. Lower the barrier to action. Make the first step almost too easy. Action creates clarity. Clarity creates momentum. Another effective strategy is time blocking. Assign tasks to specific times. When a task has a home, it is less likely to be avoided. Also, redefine success for the day. Instead of measuring completion, measure engagement. Showing up counts. Progress counts. One powerful statement reframes the struggle. Done is better than perfect. Progress does not require perfection. It requires participation. Why persistence beats talent every time talent opens doors. Persistence keeps them open. History is filled with examples of ordinary people achieving extraordinary results through sustained effort. Consider the story of a student who failed multiple times before mastering a difficult skill. Others quit early. They stayed. Each failure became feedback. Each setback refined strategy. Over time, competence replaced frustration. What separated them from others was not intelligence. It was endurance. They decided to continue when quitting felt justified. As one quote reminds us, success is often the result of showing up one more time than others. How do you measure progress without losing momentum? Tracking progress is essential, but it must be done wisely. Obsessing over outcomes creates pressure. Tracking behaviors creates consistency. Focus on what you can control. Effort, time, practice. Let results follow naturally. Celebrate small wins. They reinforce identity. Ask yourself weekly reflection questions. What worked? What needs adjustment? What will I repeat? This process turns planning into a living system, not a rigid script. One affirmation that reinforces this mindset is clear. I measure progress by effort, not perfection. Who are you becoming through this process? Goals do more than create results. They shape character. Planning builds patience. Discipline builds trust. Persistence builds resilience. You are not just building outcomes. You are building yourself. Every action reinforces identity. Every plan strengthens self-respect. Remember this truth. You can do this, not because it is easy, but because you are capable of growth. Direction plus discipline creates unstoppable momentum. Why do obstacles appear when you decide to change? The moment you choose to change your life, resistance shows up. Doubt whispers. Fear tightens its grip. Circumstances test your resolve. This is not coincidence. Growth demands confrontation. Obstacles are not signs that you are on the wrong path. They are confirmation that you are moving forward. Everyone who has ever transformed their life faced moments when quitting felt reasonable. Fatigue, rejection, delays, unexpected losses. These challenges are universal. What differs is response. Some stop, others adapt. The difference is not strength at birth, but resilience built through experience. A powerful reminder cuts through the noise. Pressure reveals who you are becoming. What setbacks are you guaranteed to face? Setbacks do not discriminate. You will encounter failure. Plans will fall apart. Progress will feel slower than expected. People will misunderstand your journey. Some will doubt you openly. Others will doubt you silently. There will be days when effort produces no visible reward. Days when confidence feels distant. Days when old habits attempt to reclaim control. These moments are not personal attacks. They are part of the process. Consider how many goals fail not because they were impossible, but because discomfort was misinterpreted as danger. Discomfort is not a stop sign. It is a signal of growth. One statement reframes this reality clearly. The struggle is not evidence of weakness. It is proof of effort. How do you respond when failure hits? Failure tests identity. It forces a choice. You either label yourself as incapable or you treat the experience as information. Resilient people do not avoid failure. They study it. There is a story of a small business owner who lost everything after a risky decision. Savings vanished. Confidence collapsed. Instead of quitting, they analyzed every mistake with brutal honesty. They rebuilt slowly, smarter, and stronger. The second attempt succeeded not because luck improved, but because wisdom increased. Failure did not end the journey. It refined it. Ask yourself a powerful question. Will this moment define me, or will it teach me? As one quote reminds us, failure is a chapter, not the whole story. How can pain become fuel instead of a stopper? Pain is unavoidable. Suffering is optional. The difference lies in interpretation. Pain can harden you or deepen you. It can close your heart or sharpen your focus. Resilient individuals reframe pain into purpose. They ask what this experience is preparing them for. They convert emotion into energy. Instead of asking why this is happening, they ask how this can be used. A powerful affirmation shifts this mindset. I grow through what I go through. When pain is processed instead of suppressed, it becomes strength. What builds mental toughness over time? Mental toughness is not aggression. It is stability under pressure. It is the ability to remain committed when comfort disappears. One practical way to build it is controlled exposure to difficulty. Do hard things on purpose. Cold mornings, challenging conversations, delayed gratification. Each small act trains your nervous system to tolerate discomfort without panic. Another tool is self-talk awareness. What you say to yourself during difficulty determines outcome. Replace catastrophic language with constructive language. Instead of saying this is impossible, say this is unfamiliar. There is a story of an athlete who consistently finished last early in their career. Public failure was constant. Instead of quitting, they focused on incremental improvement. 1 second faster, 1 repetition stronger. Years later, they stood on the podium. Not because talent suddenly appeared, but because persistence outlasted doubt. One quote captures this truth. Endurance is built in moments no one applauds. How do you keep going when motivation disappears? Motivation fades. Commitment remains. Resilience relies on systems, not emotions. When motivation drops, routine carries you. Anchor actions to identity. Instead of saying I will try, say this is who I am. Identity-based commitment outperforms willpower. Another strategy is shortening the time horizon. Focus on the next step, not the entire journey. Momentum is created by movement, not clarity. Ask yourself this grounding question. What is the next right action, not the perfect one? A simple affirmation supports this approach. I move forward even when I feel uncertain. Why do some people bounce back stronger than before? Post-adversity growth is real. Many people report increased confidence, clarity, and resilience after hardship. Why? Because surviving difficulty expands self-trust. There is a story of a student who failed an important exam repeatedly. Each attempt felt humiliating. Instead of internalizing defeat, they rebuilt study habits, sought feedback, and adjusted strategy. When success finally came, confidence was unshakable. They no longer feared failure because they had already survived it. Strength grows when survival becomes familiar. One powerful statement captures this reality. You are stronger than your worst moment. How can you train resilience daily? Resilience is a practice, not a personality trait. Daily habits build it quietly. Reflect instead of react. Pause before responding to stress. This creates choice. Maintain perspective. Ask if this will matter in a year. Most things shrink when viewed through time. Practice gratitude during difficulty. This does not deny pain. It balances it. Seek support without shame. Resilience includes connection. One affirmation reinforces this discipline. I respond with strength, not impulse. What if quitting feels justified right now? Quitting often feels logical in moments of exhaustion. That does not mean it is aligned with your future. Temporary emotions should not make permanent decisions. Before quitting, rest. Before quitting, reassess. Before quitting, remember why you started. Ask yourself one honest question. Will quitting protect me, or will it limit me? One quote brings clarity. Do not give up on what you want most for what you want now. Who are you becoming through adversity? Every obstacle reshapes you. Every challenge trains capacity. You are not just chasing outcomes. You are becoming resilient. You are learning control over reaction. You are strengthening the mind that directs your life. You are capable of enduring more than you believe. You are allowed to struggle without surrendering. Why does action matter more than intention? Every meaningful change begins with a decision, but it is sustained by action. Intention sets direction, yet action creates results. Many people know what they want, but few consistently do what is required. The difference between dreaming and becoming lies in movement. You do not change your life in a single moment of motivation. You change it through repeated behavior, practiced daily, especially on days when enthusiasm is absent. Consistency is not glamorous. It is quiet, repetitive, and often invisible. Yet it is the most powerful force you can control. There is a simple truth worth remembering. Small steps, taken daily, create massive change. What happens when you wait for the perfect moment? Waiting feels safe. It feels responsible. It feels like preparation. But waiting is often disguised fear. The perfect moment rarely arrives. Conditions are never ideal. Confidence is built after action, not before it. Many people postpone progress because they believe they need clarity first. In reality, clarity follows movement. Action sharpens focus. Effort builds belief. Ask yourself this honestly. How many opportunities were delayed because you were waiting to feel ready? A powerful reminder cuts through hesitation. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. How do small actions create big results? Transformation does not happen through dramatic gestures. It happens through repetition. A single workout changes nothing. A single focused hour barely registers. But hundreds of small efforts compound into undeniable results. Think of consistency as interest on effort. Each action deposits value into your future. Over time, momentum builds. What once required discipline becomes routine. What once felt hard becomes normal. There is a story of a writer who committed to writing just 300 words per day. It felt insignificant. After 1 year, that habit produced an entire book, not because of bursts of inspiration, but because of daily commitment. One quote captures this perfectly. Consistency turns average effort into extraordinary results. How can you break big goals into daily habits? Large goals intimidate the mind. Daily habits calm it. The key is translation. Take the outcome and reverse engineer it into behavior. If the goal is physical strength, the habit is movement. If the goal is knowledge, the habit is study. If the goal is confidence, the habit is action. Design habits that are specific, measurable, and realistic. Do not aim for perfection. Aim for repeatability. A habit you can sustain beats an intense routine you abandon. Tie habits to existing routines. Anchor new behaviors to things you already do. This reduces resistance and increases consistency. Ask yourself this grounding question. What can I do every day, even on my worst days? Repeat this affirmation often. I honor my goals through daily action. Why does discipline outperform motivation? Motivation is emotional. Discipline is structural. Motivation fluctuates. Discipline stays. When motivation fades, discipline carries the weight. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect in action. It is choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term comfort. There is a story of an entrepreneur who built success while working full-time and raising a family. Progress was slow. Energy was limited. What sustained them was routine. Fixed hours. Non-negotiable habits. Over time, effort accumulated. Opportunity followed consistency. One statement defines this reality. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. How do you stay consistent when life gets busy? Life will interrupt plans. Schedules will break. Energy will fluctuate. Consistency does not require perfection. It requires return. Miss a day? Do not miss two. Fall off track. Get back on immediately. Progress is preserved by recovery speed, not flawless execution. Lower the barrier on difficult days. Reduce intensity, not commitment. 5 minutes still counts. 1 page still matters. Ask yourself this simple question during chaos. What is the minimum effective action I can take today? An empowering affirmation supports this mindset. I show up, even imperfectly. What role does identity play in consistent action? Behavior follows identity. When you see yourself as someone who takes action, consistency becomes natural. Shift language from outcome-based to identity-based. Instead of saying I want to be successful, say I am someone who practices discipline. Instead of saying I hope to improve, say I am someone who improves daily. There is a story of a person who struggled with fitness for years. Change occurred when identity shifted from trying to exercise to being an active person. Behavior aligned naturally. One quote reinforces this shift. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. How do you push through resistance and procrastination? Resistance appears before meaningful action. Procrastination is not laziness. It is avoidance of discomfort. The solution is simplicity. Reduce decision-making. Schedule actions in advance. Remove friction from good habits. Increase friction for distractions. Use countdowns. Use time blocks. Start before you feel ready. Ask yourself this direct question. What am I avoiding right now and why? A strong affirmation anchors this moment. I act despite resistance. What do real success stories have in common? Behind every success story is sustained effort. Not constant excitement. Not perfect confidence. Consistent action. There is a story of a student who studied 1 hour daily for years while peers crammed occasionally. Results compounded. Confidence grew. Opportunities followed. There is a story of an artist who shared work daily despite little response. Over time, skill sharpened. Audience grew. Consistency created visibility. Success is not sudden. It is accumulated. One quote summarizes this truth. Overnight success takes years. Why must you start today? Delay strengthens doubt. Action weakens it. The longer you wait, the louder excuses become. Starting today interrupts the cycle. You do not need confidence to begin. You need courage to start. Confidence follows proof. Proof comes from action. Start today, not tomorrow. Start small, not perfect. Start now, not someday. Ask yourself this final question. If not now, when? Repeat this with conviction. I take action today. What have you learned about yourself along this journey? Take a moment to breathe and reflect. Everything you have heard so far points back to one undeniable truth. Your life does not change when circumstances change. Your life changes when you do. And the starting point of that change is always within your own mind. You have explored what it means to truly look inward, to recognize patterns, habits, and beliefs that quietly shape your reality. Awareness is not about judgment. It is about clarity. When you see yourself honestly, you gain power. When you understand your triggers, your strengths, and your tendencies, you stop living on autopilot. You begin living with intention. One simple truth deserves repetition. Awareness precedes transformation. What you focus on, you become. Your mindset is the lens through which you interpret the world. It determines whether obstacles become excuses or opportunities. It shapes whether failure becomes a stopping point or a lesson. A controlled mind does not mean a perfect mind. It means a disciplined one. It means choosing thoughts that serve you rather than sabotage you. It means recognizing fear without obeying it. Every breakthrough begins when you stop letting temporary emotions dictate permanent decisions. A strong mindset is not built in moments of comfort. It is forged when things feel uncertain, heavy, or uncomfortable. Repeat this quietly, then say it with confidence. My thoughts work for me, not against me. Why do clear goals change everything? Without direction, effort scatters. With clarity, energy aligns. Clear goals give purpose to your days and meaning to your struggles. They turn vague hope into measurable progress. You learn that goals are not wishes. They are commitments. They require structure, patience, and honesty. They require you to break big dreams into daily actions that feel small but matter deeply. Planning is not restrictive. It is freeing. It removes guesswork and replaces confusion with focus. When you know what matters, distractions lose their power. Remember this guiding thought. A goal without a plan is only a wish. How did you learn to stand back up when life pushed back? Resilience is not about avoiding difficulty. It is about refusing to stay down. Life will challenge you. That is not a sign you are failing. It is a sign you are growing. Every setback you face is shaping strength you cannot gain any other way. Every moment of resistance is building endurance. Every disappointment is teaching you how to adapt, adjust, and continue. You do not need to be unbreakable. You need to be unyielding. You need to decide that no matter how many times you fall, you will rise with more wisdom than before. Hold on to this reminder. Strength grows in moments when you think you cannot go on, but you do anyway. What happens when you choose action over excuses? Nothing changes until something moves. Knowledge alone does not transform lives. Action does. You have learned that consistency beats intensity. That small steps, taken daily, outwork rare bursts of motivation. That discipline is not about forcing yourself. It is about honoring your future self. Taking action is an act of self-belief. Every time you show up, you send a message to your mind. You tell yourself that your goals matter. You tell yourself that progress is non-negotiable. Say this with intention. I prove my belief through action. Why is now the most important moment? The past cannot be edited. The future is not guaranteed. The present is where power lives. Waiting for the right time is a trap. Confidence does not arrive before action. It follows it. Clarity does not come from thinking more. It comes from doing more. If you have ever told yourself that you will start tomorrow, this is your moment to interrupt that pattern. Start today. Start small. Start imperfectly. Ask yourself this honestly. What is one action you can take immediately that aligns with the person you want to become? One powerful quote brings this home. The best time to plant a tree was years ago. The second best time is now. What will you choose to believe about yourself moving forward? You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not incapable. You are becoming. Every effort you make compounds. Every disciplined decision rewires your thinking. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you strengthen control over your mind. Your thoughts shape your actions. Your actions shape your habits. Your habits shape your life. When you control your mind, you change everything that follows. Repeat this affirmation slowly. I am in control of my thoughts, and my thoughts are shaping a better life. What does winning really mean to you? Winning is not comparison. It is alignment. It is waking up knowing you are moving in the right direction, even if progress feels slow. Winning is choosing purpose over distraction. It is choosing growth over fear. It is choosing discipline over comfort. You do not need permission to change your life. You need commitment. Let this truth sink in. You are one decision away from a completely different future. How will you carry this forward after this moment ends? Motivation fades if it is not anchored by action. Inspiration disappears if it is not followed by commitment. Do not let this be another message that felt good and faded away. Let it be a turning point. Write down your goals. Commit to one habit. Take one step today. Your future self is watching, waiting, hoping you choose courage over convenience. End with this promise to yourself. I choose progress. I choose discipline. I choose myself.